In this video, we will be covering the basic configuration steps for barcode printers in FreezerPro. This will largely take place in the Settings and Preferences section and will require administrative privileges and access rights. For configuration tools, expand the Settings and Preferences section. To continue with configuration, we will discuss how to manage barcode printers. Expand the System Preferences section by clicking on the plus sign. This will reveal the different options available in the System Preferences menu. To begin with managing our barcode printers, double-click on the Barcode Printers tab. This will open the configuration view. In this view, we may add, delete, and edit barcode printer profiles in FreezerPro. Additionally, we may set access permissions for each printer profile and refresh the printer list by using the Refresh tool. To add a printer, select the Add New Printer tool in the toolbar. Alternatively, you may right-click in the view and select the Add New Printer option in the available pop-up menu. The first step when adding a new printer profile is to assign the profile a name. This can be done by entering text into the name text box. The next step is to assign the printer's profile its IP address. This is the IP address of the physical printer on your network. The default port for all printers in FreezerPro is 9100. It is unlikely that this will need to be changed at any time. The next step is to choose which barcode language to use. This will be respective to the brand of printer that you will be using. Most printers support multiple barcode languages. For Zebra printers, it is best to use ZPL for Zebra printing language. FreezerPro also supports the use of EPL, DPL, JScript, Sado, and Leica printer languages. Be sure to choose the printing language that is best for your printer. The Calibrate tool is used to reset your printer's label arrangement as best as possible to sync with FreezerPro. This is usually used for troubleshooting. There are two additional printing options, debug mode and client-side printing. Debug mode is used to troubleshoot the printer should it be necessary and can be useful by printing debug materials onto labels. Client-side printing is likely the only other major option that will be used in FreezerPro. Client-side printing is used when the printer is located on a network that is different from FreezerPro. If the printer is on the same network, it is not necessary to enable client-side printing. Now that the printer preferences are set, the next step is to edit the label preferences. By default, a single field for sample name is assigned a position on your FreezerPro label. We may edit our label, however, by selecting the Edit Label button. When we do, we have the option to remove fields, add fields, and edit the label size. An important note here is that when the label size is changed, all of the fields will be removed from the label. If it is necessary to edit the label size, it is best to do that first and add the fields second. To edit the label size, simply select the Measurements hyperlink, enter your new width and height measurements, and select the OK button. You may also select the Cancel tool in order to cancel your changes. Canceling your changes will not remove your fields. To add fields to your label, select the Add Field tool. You may choose to add static text, text fields, linear barcodes, 2D barcodes, or RFID tags. For tutorial purposes, we will add a text field and then a linear barcode. When adding a text field, simply select which field you would like to choose from in the drop-down menu. The black background tool is useful if you would like to make your field distinguished on the label. To finalize your addition, select the Add button. Now that the field has been added to the label, we may move it around by selecting it and dragging it. It is best practice to align your fields to the left or to the right of your label. We may also make the field bigger or smaller by expanding the text box or minimizing it. Next, we will add a linear barcode to our label. In general, the default settings are set accordingly. You will not want to change the barcode field as it is what is intended to be added to the label. You may change your barcode code should you be using a printer or scanner that reads codes in a better way. Code 128 is set by default and is a standard code type. Additionally, you may change the module for the same reason. Again, this can be changed depending on your hardware configurations and best practices. Print interpretation may be enabled if you wish to see the numeric representation of your barcode. To finalize the addition, select the Add button. To remove a field from your label, simply select the red X in the top left corner of the field. To save your label preferences, select the Save tool. Now that we have set our label up, it may be necessary to change some minor settings. On the right-hand side of the view, we have a few options. We may change the type of units we wish to measure our label size in, either millimeters or inches. We may change the number of labels to print in a row. We may also change the horizontal gap, should our printer allow it. We may change the top offset or how high or low the label sits inside the printer. We may change the left offset or how far left or right the label sits inside the printer. And we may change the rotation of the label as it is printed. Finally, we can save our label as a template should we wish to make changes to this one at a later time, but want to revert back to it. To save this label setup as a template, select the Save as Template tool. Simply give the template a name and select the OK button to save it. We may clear all of the label templates at once or individually in the Label Templates drop-down menu. One of the last options is to print a test label. This is a useful tool as it allows you to print labels from this view so that you may adjust your label setup to your liking before beginning your real printing. Once your printer and label preferences have been set up to your liking, you may save your profile by selecting the Save Profile button. We may edit any of our printer profiles by selecting them in the list view and then using the Properties tool in the toolbar. By doing so, we can reopen the Printer Preferences window to make any adjustments to our printer and labels as necessary. Once our changes have been made, we may save them by selecting the Save Profile button again. To delete a printer, simply select it in the list view and select the Delete Printer tool in the toolbar. Alternatively, you may right-click and select the Delete Printer tool in the pop-up menu. Note that as with many other objects in the FreezerPro software, printers cannot be deleted if they are in use by other users. We may set access permissions on each of our printer profiles the same way we do with other major components of the system. To set access permissions on a printer profile, select it in the list view and then select the Access Permissions tool in the toolbar. In the Access Permissions window, you may set full access, view only access, and no access settings to each respective user group in your system. When you have done so, as desired, select the Save Permissions button to save your settings. This concludes the General Configuration Managing Barcode Printers video tutorial. Up next, we will discuss managing user preferences. To recap, barcode printers can be managed in the Barcode Printer section of the System Preferences submenu in the Settings and Preferences. Barcode printers must be on a physical network to connect with FreezerPro. Barcode printer profiles may be modified by their label settings using templates. Access permissions may be set to each barcode printer profile per user group.